let's take a look back so we can see what really happened this last year.
One of the worst days for stocks this decade.
Lehman Brothers declares bankruptcy. Merrill Lynch sold to Bank of America.
The largest bank failure in U.S. history.
2008, a year that will be remembered for its roller coaster stock market. Tightening credit crunch, rising unemployment, declining consumer spending, and the home mortgage meltdown. Let's go back to the beginning of the year. January started with a bang. The stock market fell, and we learned that 2007 saw the largest drop in existing home sales in 25 years, as well as the first fall of home prices in decades.
If there was ever a time in the history of the United States that you got yourselves out of credit card debt, regardless of what you are currently paying on your interest rate, now is the time.
As the winter wore on, many of you refused to acknowledge that you were in trouble. You were wishing and a hoping and a praying that everything would turn around.
If you think that this can't happen to you, I'm here to tell you, you are so very, very wrong. Welcome to America today, everybody, the land of upside-down homes.
Many of those upside-down homes turned into foreclosures. In 2008, when all the numbers are in, we'll see more than 2.5 million foreclosures, added to last year's 2.2 million.
Whoever heard of financing a home 100%, you know, in the good old days, this wouldn't have happened to you. You needed at least 20% to put down. You needed a good debt to income ratio. You needed things that were ethical back then.
After a long, hard winter, the spring brought more bad news. The collapse of investment bank Bear Stearns, falling home prices, soaring oil and gas prices, and consumer confidence hitting new lows.
When can you remember that we've ever been in such a horrific economic time? Truthfully, we haven't seen times like this since the Depression.
And I reinforced one of my most important rules.
Have you ever possibly heard me say that money that you need within a relatively short period of time, up to 10 years really, depends what you really need it for, is not money that should be invested in the stock market? Have you ever heard me say that?
I have heard you say that.
Then came the long, hot summer. IndyMac Bank failed, the fourth biggest bank failure in U.S. history. And concerns about failing mortgage finance companies Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae caused their share prices to tumble.
If you do not have the cash for it, you are not to buy it.
In the fall, amid great volatility in the stock market, the government took over Freddie and Fannie. Wall Street investment giant Lehman Brothers filed for bankruptcy. Bank of America bought Merrill Lynch. And AIG, the world's largest insurer, was bailed out by the U.S. Federal Reserve. The bottom dropped out on September 29th, when the U.S. House of Representatives rejected the $700 billion government bailout plan, and the Dow fell 777 points.
Investors have voted today on this failed legislation, and it was a tough day.
It was, once again, time for some perspective.
What you have to understand is that we still have an orderly market. If you have at least 10 years or longer till you need this money, please don't freak out.
In October, just when we thought it couldn't get any worse.
A historic week for the U.S. stock market, the worst week in its history.
Currently, the economy is in the ICU division of the hospital. We are in intensive care. And we are probably going to be in intensive care for about 6 months, 9 months, another year.
And it will take a long time for the economy to regain its health. As I've said a number of times, I don't think it will truly be back on its feet until 2015.
You can no longer live in financial la-la land.